Good evening, and welcome to Red's Classic Theater. This week we're at the Evergreen Squash Club, where some North Vancouver squash players are going to the wall for the Child Foundation. Hi everybody, I'm Red Robinson. The Evergreen Squash Club is holding a squash tournament to support the Child Foundation's fight against illnesses of the digestive tract. Now we'll have more about the foundation, the tournament, and how you can help in our next segment. Our movie this week is the 1989 Marriage Gone Bad satire, The War of the Roses, with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. Danny DeVito plays a supporting role, but he spent most of his time behind the camera as the film's director. In our movie notes, we'll tell you how they paid for the havoc and destruction DeVito created on screen, and also take a look at DeVito's evolving career as an actor, director, and producer. Now here's Act One of The War of the Roses. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're courtside at the Evergreen Squash Club in North Vancouver. A doubles tournament will be held here later this week, and the proceeds will go to the Child Foundation. Now, the Child Foundation is a volunteer organization raising funds for research into digestive disorders. And with me is Gary Bombay, who is a member of the club and an organizer of the tournament. When did you become aware of the Child Foundation, Gary?
Well, Red, Grace McCarthy came and talked to us at Sales and Marketing Executives last year. And any of you have heard Grace talk, she's quite compelling. And as I listened to her talk, I realized that this disease that I knew nothing about was the very same disease my very good buddy Marvin Mazinski suffered from. And Marvin is a pretty fit squash player that ended up losing 60 pounds in the space of 5 weeks. And I thought, this is something that I need to do something about.
And we'll be back with more in just a moment. Continuing our conversation with Gary Bombay, who's chairman of the forthcoming squash tournament in aid of the Child Foundation. Gary, tell us more about the actual tournament itself.
Well, Red, we have three stated goals. One is to raise $50,000 for Child. The second, to raise the awareness of Child. And the third, to raise the awareness of doubles squash. So if people would like to support us in this effort, join us next weekend at the Evergreen Squash Club right here, 15th to 17th. And if they want to know more about it, just give me a call.
If you'd like to know more about the forthcoming squash tournament, call us at TV12 tomorrow morning, and we'll give you a phone number. Now let's return to our movie, The War of the Roses. Hope you're enjoying The War of the Roses, directed by Danny DeVito this week on Red's Classic Theater. To help depict the bitterness of the marriage breakup portrayed in tonight's movie, Danny DeVito decided to make the story more physical, not only for Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, but also for the props around them. The sports car Turner demolishes in a scene later in the film was the real thing, a $30,000 Morgan. And the oven smashed in the kitchen cost the production $4,000. But even Danny DeVito's budget couldn't afford the china he planned to destroy, so his prop guys created fake figurines, china, and expensive-looking furniture. Had it all been real, it would have cost more than $100,000. Even in Hollywood, there's a limit to excess. Now let's return to The War of the Roses. Danny DeVito is co-starring in The War of the Roses this week on Red's Classic Theater. With his short stature, bald head, and broad New Jersey accent, Danny DeVito has become one of Hollywood's most successful character actors. One of his early roles was in a film produced by his buddy Michael Douglas. But the role that brought him to everyone's attention was Louis De Palma on Taxi. He found similar success on the big screen in Romancing the Stone, Ruthless People, and his first film as a director, Throw Mama from the Train. As a producer, DeVito's credits include Pulp Fiction, Get Shorty, and Living Out Loud. Danny DeVito is said to be trying to lure Michael Douglas to another adventure film like Romancing the Stone. In the meantime, look for Danny DeVito starring in a forthcoming movie called The Virgin Suicides. Now let's return to The War of the Roses. This week on Red's Classic Theater, we're featuring The War of the Roses. Back in the 1960s, Danny DeVito and Michael Douglas shared an apartment in New York City. And here's a list of other actors who split the rent while they were young, aspiring artists. How about Jack Klugman and Charles Bronson as roommates? Klugman described Bronson as the Felix Unger type. he was the best ironer in the world. Marilyn Monroe and Shelley Winters were also roomies. Winters recalls the two making a list of men they wanted to sleep with. She says Monroe's list actually included Albert Einstein. And Dustin Hoffman and Robert Duvall lived together for a time. When we went to parties, Hoffman said, Bob would strum the guitar, and I do an impression of William F. Buckley Jr. It was the only thing I knew how to do, but it killed him. Now back to former roommates Danny DeVito and Michael Douglas in The War of the Roses. From the Evergreen Squash Club in North Vancouver, time for our weekly movie trivia quiz. In 1992, Jack Nicholson gave a powerful performance as a union leader in a film directed by Danny DeVito. Can you name that film? We'll be back with the answer in just a moment. Time now for the answer to our movie trivia quiz. In 1992, Danny DeVito directed and co-starred with Jack Nicholson in Hoffa, a drama based on the life of late union boss Jimmy Hoffa. Now let's return to The War of the Roses. Next Sunday night on Red's Classic Theater, look for us 2 hours earlier at 8 p.m. as we present one of the most talked about and award-winning films of all time. Marlon Brando stars in The Godfather, next Sunday night at 8 on Red's Classic Theater. And that's all the time we have for this week's show. Hope you enjoyed The War of the Roses. Our special thanks to Gary Bombay and the Evergreen Squash Club for hosting our show. And their big tournament on behalf of the Child Foundation gets underway Friday. If you'd like more information, call us at TV 12 and we'll give you a number. I'll see you tomorrow morning on 650 CR with the Wake Up Club and next week here on Red's Classic Theater. Thanks for being with us. Good night, everybody. The War of the Roses on Red's Classic Theater will continue. Red's Classic Theater, previewing the Child Foundation Squash Tournament, will continue. Red's Classic Theater, previewing the Child Foundation Squash Tournament, will continue. This week on Red's Classic Theater, the Child Foundation benefits from a racket. Actually, it's a fundraising squash tournament. We'll find out more about the foundation and tell you how you can become involved. Our movie this week is War of the Roses with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. We'll tell you about the cost of the on-screen destruction and profile the film's director, Danny DeVito. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Sunday night at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, the Child Foundation benefits from a racket. Actually, it's a fundraising squash tournament. We'll find out more about the foundation and tell you how you can become involved. Our movie this week is War of the Roses with Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner. We'll tell you about the cost of the on-screen destruction and profile the film's director, Danny DeVito. I'm Red Robinson. Join me, won't you?
Tonight at 10 on TV 12.
This week on Red's Classic Theater, marital bliss goes out the window in The War of the Roses. Sunday night at 10 here on TV 12. Tonight on Red's Classic Theater, marital bliss goes out the window in The War of the Roses. Tonight at 10 here on TV 12. The War of the Roses on Red's Classic Theater, Sunday night at 10. The War of the Roses on Red's Classic Theater, tonight at 10.